All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name's Tiffany, and we are joined by Leah B. Rose. I love her name, and she is from Vancouver. So hello, Leah. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is really awesome to have you on. I just found you on Instagram, which is kind of funny. I'm like, this girl,
Yeah.
I want to talk to her. I loved your cats. You have this cats with no hair. And I
Yeah.
haven't seen anyone who's paralyzed with their kitties with no hair. And I'm like, okay, she sounds like a fun person. So I have to talk to her.
Yeah.
So thanks for replying. And I don't know much. I'm kind of doing the Larry King thing, which he would do notoriously when he would do interviews. He wouldn't do a lot of research. He would kind of go into the research or the interview rather, and just kind of start talking and asking, like if I just met you on the street and I know a little bit about you, but I don't know a lot. So this is going to be interesting. So if we want to start from the beginning, I don't know even how long you've been in a chair and anything like that. So if you don't mind sharing, with us your injury story.
Sure. So right now I'm 31 years old. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia,
Okay.
and I was injured when I was 21 years old.
Okay.
So living with a spinal cord injury about coming up this summer, August 14th is my date, my spinal cord injury date. So August 14th of 2011. So just over 9.5 years now coming up on that. And so basically what had happened is I went away with, well, okay, I'll back it up a little bit. So, I was pretty active growing up. I was in competitive sports, swimming, all those things. I loved being active. Before my injury, just before I was doing hot yoga, sometimes twice a day, running 10Ks.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I know. So in a way, it's good because I was probably in the best shape of my life going into my injury, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
But obviously for anyone, it's a huge shock.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I mean, as you know, right?
Yeah, it's the crazy transition at 21 years old too. I mean, at any
Yeah.
age it's hard, but were you in college at the time of your injury?
I had done a bit of college and then I just didn't really know what I wanted to be
Yeah.
doing. So then I was just working at the time, kind of doing the fun party life thing. And, when I was in high school,
Yeah.
this will tie into later when I explain about like my youth and family and empowerment, like life coaching that I'm doing. So, when I was in high school, I was, would get, what they would call a typical teen getting into trouble, drinking on the weekends and smoking weed. And then, but I didn't get into any hard drugs really around that time. And then I was in a relationship after high school. It was pretty toxic. I was in that from 17 to the age of 20. We broke up.
Okay.
And he had been into doing hard drugs and stuff, and I would, get in these crazy fights with him, just a very toxic relationship. But I was really against drugs at the time. And then I got out of that relationship and I wasn't really taking care of myself and healing in the way that I needed to be on a spiritual, mental level and emotional level. And instead I started partying. So, I started doing hard drugs like,
Oh no.
cocaine and ecstasy here and there. And
Yep.
this kind of was a weekend warrior doing things that
Right.
I would never do and was totally against, but I was kind of running away from, what I needed internally inside of me to heal after that. Anyway, so we broke up when I was 20, and about a year after that,
Yeah.
I went away for a weekend with guys I didn't know all too well, and a girlfriend of mine, and it was like any other weekend. It was in British Columbia, like where, just outside of Vancouver, to a really nice summer hot spot.
Cool.
And it's so nice. It used to be one of my favorite places, but we were hopping in the vehicle at the end of the weekend to come home, and the vehicle we were in, another car pulled up on us, and masked gunmen jumped out of the vehicle and started loading gunfire into the vehicle we were in.
Wow, that's crazy. Why'd they target you guys?
Well, I mean, it wasn't me or my girlfriend. It was something to do with the guys that were there with, either all of them or one of them. It's still unknown. The people who did this
Wow.
are in jail now, but what had happened is when they surrounded the vehicle from behind, I was in the back of the vehicle in the very middle, so I had no way to get out. And a bullet came in through the back, went through the luggage that we had just put in the back of the vehicle, and one entered my right shoulder and severed my spine at the C5, C6 vertebrae.
That's crazy. That is crazy. What a nuts. Were you conscious when you felt the bullet go through your spinal cord? What was that like?
I almost became like hyper aware. I think just because I was in survival mode, and as soon as they pulled up, I was just like shocked, but like survival mode, because I was like, for a second you're like, that's not real, and then you're like, right away you're like, well, who would do that in the middle of broad daylight across from a police station?
That's
so you're
crazy.
Like, this isn't a joke. So it sets in really quick, and then I'm thinking like, okay, who are these people I'm with? Like, I didn't know them that well, but I was such a free spirit at the time, and I would, when I was 17, I traveled Europe by myself. Like, I have a lot of family all over Europe.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
And yeah, actually I was talking about it yesterday because it was St. Patrick's Day. My granny is Irish, and she's passed now, but she was one of 13 kids. So my dad had 52 first cousins. So I traveled over. Yeah, a lot of kids. But I have a lot of family, and a lot of family in Europe still. So I was like, okay, well, I can travel on my own there, because people are just a phone call away, right? Like, if I need anything, Europe is so close together. And but I was so comfortable with loving and meeting people, and obviously just didn't see the dangers that were in front of me. So I was hyper aware, and then I had to get flown down to Vancouver.
Okay.
And like medevaced, and then when they told me that I was going to need to get flown down to Vancouver, I was like, okay, if I can't stay here to treat this in the hospital that's in this town, then this is kind of.
Did you have any inkling of what being paralyzed was like, and that you were a quadriplegic right away? Did you kind of know, or did you not know right away what was happening?
I knew I was paralyzed. I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And right away, because being a quad, I'm not sure how your injury happened, if you remember, but
mine diving accident, and I remember too.
Yeah, like I tried to breathe and I couldn't breathe.
Oh, what?
Right?
Wow.
Like really, because as a quad, I'm not sure your level, but
mine's the same as yours, exact same as yours.
Oh, okay, yeah. So right away, when I tried to take that deep breath and talk, I couldn't talk. Like, I knew that like something was limited, and I tried to move. And the firemen, they were the first responders. When they pulled me out of the vehicle, I was trying to tell them I knew. So this is the only reason why I kind of knew about being paralyzed, is because I had taken some lifeguarding courses.
Oh, yep.
Well, I knew that I was paralyzed, and I was saying to the firemen when they got there, because I heard them saying, oh, there's a woman, she's been shot in the shoulder.
Not the shoulder.
I know, and I was like, no, I'm paralyzed, and just move me slowly. But honestly,
did they move you slow?
Yeah, but I think the damage was done.
It was already too late.
Move. I can, maybe like a slight bit more happened, but where the bullet was lodged, I have a CT scan. I saved them. Wow. Where it was lodged, it's like it was right in the middle.
Wow.
Like the damage was done, so.
Did they have to did the bones crush in your neck? Did they have to take the bones out of your neck?
Yeah. And I had to, so like, I mean, that first day, my parents flew me down, or I was flown down to the hospital, and I was like, oh my gosh, my parents, my sister was going to be so mad at me. Like, what am I thinking? They raised me so well. Like, what the, everything's going through my head. And my parents had divorced when I was 7.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't that often that my mom, my dad, and my sister, because she's older, that we were all in a room together. And then when I got flown down and I saw them, it was like, I asked for the plane ride or the helicopter ride down. I said, can you give me some anesthetic? Like, I'm at the point now, I'd been like 6 hours after. I'm like, can't handle this.
I need to go to sleep. Let me go to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I got down to Vancouver, and I kind of woke up, and it was that like fuzzy, like dreamy look. And it was my parents, my mom and my sister. And they were like, we love you. Like, it's all good. So going in, they said I looked okay. And at that point I felt like, semi-okay, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't really know what the days to come were going to be like, but it was waking up that next day out of a huge surgery that my parents were like, you had like no neck, and they had to take the vertebrae out, and I had plates and hardware put in.
Yep, yep. So did me. I had the same exact thing. So you told me you had a complete injury. So does that mean your spinal cord is completely severed, or do you have any feeling in your lower body?
Complete
Complete,
sever.
complete. So it's been over 10 years, and I know they always say the first 2 years is like the hardest. Was that the case for you? Did you find the first 2 years just like really difficult until you kind of found your new place to be in life?
Yeah,
It's
even
always
it
so
might
weird.
have even been longer because
Yeah.
I don't know for you, but the first 5.5 months, I was still at Vancouver General Hospital. I had
Okay.
complication after complication. Um,
Really? Oh no.
yeah, with the front plate, so what they had done is they put a front plate, a cage in the middle, and a plate in the back, and the front plate um, tore a hole in my esophagus.
Oh my God.
So
Wow.
the saliva went through into my back. Like eventually it tore because it was just, so much hardware.
Yeah.
And um, and I wasn't passing my swallowing assessment. So I didn't eat for about 5.5 months.
Wow.
Healing wasn't going on too well. And then finally, so that was August, in December or the end of November. No, I think
Yeah.
it was probably December because
Mhm.
just before Christmas, I think I had to go in for the surgery to take the hardware out.
Wow, that must have been so
Front
scary.
plate.
I've never heard of anyone having to go through that. Did it hurt?
Well, you know what?
Mhm.
It didn't hurt. And I actually was getting really so when the saliva went through my neck and into my back, I
Mhm.
actually got a flesh-eating disease in my back.
Whoa.
Yeah, it called Eikenella cordens.
Oh man. You
Most
poor
doctors
kid.
are like,
Wow. Did they have to give you some crazy antibiotic to get rid of that then, or how did they fix that?
oh yeah, they actually had to go in and take out all the tissue that was dead,
Oh
and
my
it
God.
went down my spine. You could see right down to my spine, which they call the dura,
Whoa.
down to like my into my T spine. And then I had to have a back dressing on for a month, and then I was on IV antibiotics for twice a day for 6 months plus.
Oh my God. You had a super long recovery. So you did not even get home until what, 6 months after your injury about?
Well, and then after that, I went into
Oh, so you weren't even.
rehabilitation.
Wow. So you lived there for a while then too, and for the rehab facility thing?
So I was in total, I wasn't home for 1 year and like a half a month.
Wow, that's a record. That's a record for a lot. I don't know anyone that stays away from their home that long after an
I
injury.
know.
Wow. What was it like when you first went home? Did you guys make your house accessible so you could just kind of go home and try to live, or was it weird?
I
Mm.
in a roundabout way, I do feel very lucky because I have funding through crime victims
Okay.
assistance programs. So, and they're a pretty good funder. I know all funders can be different depending, insurance companies, this and that. And they actually did like a full shower renovation, bathroom renovation.
That's great.
And yeah, and I got like a hospital bed at home, but it's actually an extra wide, well, not extra wide, it's not a single bed like the hospital, it's like the next size up. So
Cool.
it's a little bit bigger, and like I got overhead lifts and everything, but we didn't want to do a full
Nice.
renovation because they said they would do a full renovation, but we wanted to wait until I knew where I wanted to live. And my mom and I actually just bought a townhouse
Okay.
in October. So now we're finally going to get all the
Ooh,
renovations done. So
that sounds great. And you're still living in the city of Vancouver, right?
yeah, so it's just outside where I was born and raised in
Okay.
Maple Ridge. So
Okay.
about an hour outside of, but it's really great. And I find a lot of people in Canada will migrate over to Vancouver
Really?
just because it is a very accessible city, especially the Rick Hansen Institute.
Yep.
Rick Hansen is from British Columbia. The Rick Hansen Institute is in Vancouver, so they try to be really forward thinking in, whenever they're doing any new construction and things like that, sidewalks, right, and making everything
Yes.
accessible.
The Rick Hansen, I love the Rick Hansen Institute. I've been following them for years. Rick, have you met Rick since your injury?
Yeah,
Cool.
he's so nice. Have you ever met him?
No, I'm the United States. I need to come to Canada.
Yeah, Vancouver is a great city, and plus the temperature stays pretty moderate most of the year.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
it's rainy, but
right. It's like perfect. It's perfect if you're a quad because you can't get too hot because you can't sweat, and if it's too cold, you freeze. So it's kind of a nice in between.
Yes,
that's good. That's good. You know, I love that. You know, your career is, I think, one of the cooler things that you're doing right now. I don't know. I know a lot of psychologists a lot of people who become paralyzed and they get into psychology after their injury. Now, for you, you're doing, it's like family and child coaching. Is that the right word?
Family and youth. So more
youth.
so working with moms, more specifically, and basically just their relationship with their teenagers. Because I know so many teenagers, I mean, at least this is how I felt. I'm going off what I think. And the teenagers that I know, you just kind of think you know so much when you're younger. And really the reality is you get out and you're a young adult and life happens and things happen. So my idea behind this is that I wanted to work with moms so that, they could really feel that they have connection with their kids, feel confident in their parenting, that they're guiding them in the right direction, and, help them be able to talk to their kids about things and certain dangers. But overall, really just building a vision for, their family and their kids' future, and also respecting one another and what it is that each of them wants, and being able to hear each other through an unconditional lens. So yeah.
Wow. That's really, really cool. I know a lot of families, in my own personal experience, that could have used someone like you going through the crazy teenage years. How did you get into the field though? I'm kind of curious. Was it after your injury you decided you want to do this, or was it something you thought about before you got hurt?
Well, okay, so I've always loved people. I've always loved talking with people. And I did take, when I was first in college, back before my injury, I did take some psychology, which is really interesting for me. I was just taking a couple different courses. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but human behavior was really interesting to me. And then after my injury, I actually ended up getting my diploma in accounting. Because my dad's girlfriend, she's an accountant, and she said, there's been people who've been injured and I've seen them do this, and they're really good in the workplace for accommodating. If you work for most companies, and every company needs an accountant. I'm also fairly analytical, so it wasn't too difficult for me to do the schooling. So I was like, okay, and my dad saved up money for me, so I was like, I just need to get in, do something, so I have something under my belt. So I'm going to have the back end of the business, figured out, and I understand all that. But then I was like, I need something where I want to be helping people after my accident. With what happened to me, I want to be able to find a way that I can help people and, just uplift them and empower them, because I've had a pretty, I mean, as you know, and you can probably agree with, like, having a spinal cord injury, you have to find ways to even build a vision for your own future and empower yourself. And then you learn that, and it's like, okay, so what's next? And the best way, I think, is, personally for me, is just like being able to serve others.
So I love that.
Yeah. So then so I had a lot of time thinking too, like, after my accident, like, how did I get myself in this position? And I had a lot of time to think. And I just thought, like, it all kind of goes back to high school. That's kind of, after elementary school, your parents give you a bit more autonomy over your own life. You can decide what it is, making more choices in your life that you want to do. And, they kind of trust that you're going to be making good decisions and things like that. And that's when I kind of started, it was like, that's when I started to not listen to my inner voice. So over
Oh no.
time, right, just slowly over time, it wasn't a big deal per se, back when I was 13, 14, 15, then I was in that really toxic relationship. So I was ignoring my own needs, my own boundaries. And then after that, coming in to being a young adult, it was like, I hadn't really built a good foundation of what it is that I wanted. What did I want
Yeah.
in life? What was my vision?
Yeah.
So,
What fulfills your soul, or what fulfills you as a
right?
person, right? That's a huge question. I don't think enough people really consider that when they go through life's that.
No,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing that's going to keep you. If you can even just get into, I mean, you can't be expected to know at 15, this is it, this is my life, because things change. But if you can start exploring that and getting into things that you love doing and just knowing how to head in that direction at that age, your life is going to be pretty fulfilling regardless.
It's so cool. I always wondered now, do you have to get a psychology degree though to become to become a coach of any kind? Do you have to have a degree to do what you do?
No, you don't. So
Cool. All right.
there's different areas. So not psychology, but there is specific coaching designations that you can get. But what I did
Yeah.
is I worked with a girl years ago before my injury, worked at Joey's in Vancouver, like a little like fancier restaurant. And
Okay.
her and I kept in touch on Facebook. She's a bit older than me.
Mhm.
And she reached out after my accident in 2014 and said, she was working down in the States. She met a husband who's a bit older than her, and she started getting really well connected with people down in the States. And she said, if you ever want to get your story out there one day, I know people, blah, blah, blah. Anyways,
Yeah.
speed to, about this last year, and I'm seeing what she's doing. And she has her own podcast. She's interviewing Ed Milet, and then she was featured in Forbes magazine and like all these things. And I was like, hey, what are you doing? And then she's like, I have a coaching program. Like, I would love it. And, if you'd want to take part in this and let's do this. Like, I saw this vision for you a long time ago, and now you're reaching out. Like, let's do this, right? So
yeah. Your friend sounds amazing. I love that. I was thinking, do you think you could ever become a coach for people with spinal cord injuries?
that too. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was
And
thinking, you could apply that to help other types of people too.
yes, it really is a full-rounded thing. And that is another area too that I would absolutely do because I mean, obviously when I'm talking about the business side of things, my coach was like, okay, we want to think of who do you want to work with first? Like, it's kind of like you target in and then you kind of build your programs out from there. So this is where I've started, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't open it up to anyone who would like to be coached, right?
That's really, yeah. And the coaching thing is you work with people virtually, right? And then you can help them that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
That's
like this, like we're talking right now.
so cool.
You can even
Yeah.
do group courses, e-courses, or just one-on-one coaching. Yeah, there's a lot of different.
And do you find that the families respond differently to you since you use a wheelchair, or do they go, oh, she might understand our pain more because she knows what it's like to go through some struggles? Or do they ever reference that?
Well, so no, they haven't, but what I think, like what my coach has said to me, like, so this is just from her perspective, I think just being really honest, is she's like,
Yeah.
you already have a story to tell. You have authority in your field. You know what happens when you don't make good decisions and when you're not the leader of your life.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been told from her per se,
Yeah.
but I haven't really been told anything specific, like around the injury part, at least from families. But yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing about your job. Now, before I let you go, I have one thing I want to really talk to you about, and that's your kitty cats.
Oh,
So tell me about these lovely creatures. I always it's fun to ask people about their pets who are paralyzed, because first of all, pets can be so healing. And I don't know if you had your little kitties before your injury or after your injury. So kind of share with us about how you came across these guys.
so no, I didn't have them before my injury.
Okay.
I have always been an animal person. And my mom too. Like we've always had dogs or cats, both, and birds. We even have cockatiels right now. That doesn't really do very well with the cats, but she's in her own suite in the basement. So um these cats are great. I got Simba, my bigger cat, in 2018 in November when he was 5 months old. So he was born in June.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
What's the breed called now? So for people that don't know, because they don't have any hair.
Sphynx.
The Sphynx, right? That's what they're called. They're
Yeah.
really cool. They're so cool. And they like are jumping right on your chair. It looks like they love you. Like, wow. I've never had to see a cat on someone's shoulder before. Will your cat just sit on your shoulder?
Yeah, yeah, she did that whole day, and she climbs, well, because they love being warm. They get cold easily.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
climb inside of my shirt and just want to like cuddle. And right now Simba's in here on a little cat bed on my desk on my workstation, and he's wearing like a full-on sweater. I have clothes for them because they need it. But yeah, they're funny, and they're actually the type of cats that act most like dogs. So they'll play fetch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
that's so cool.
they
Are they smart around your wheelchair too? They know how to get out of the way?
well, the older one is, they learn,
Yeah, they learn.
you know, if
That's
you
so
get
cool.
their tail or toe. But the one thing that's difficult, it's nice that I have two of them now because I just got my baby, and they'll sleep in a little tent right beside me on the bed. But before, when it was just Simba, he would climb under the sheets and lie on my legs, and I sleep on my stomach. So when I go to turn, I'd be like, I can't turn, you know. But it's good. Now they have each other and they just sleep in their little cat
That's
tent.
adorable. That's so cute. Yeah, cats kind of need friends. That's awesome. And I can't believe you sleep on your stomach, by the way. That must be so you have your caregiver lay you on your belly and you kind of stay there all night until someone helps you roll back. Is that what you do?
So I have pillows on either side.
Okay.
And what I do is I roll back and forth. Because if I'm flat on my back with the hardware that's still in my neck, I can't turn. I don't know about you.
Oh, I can't turn it all on my own. I'm stuck on my back, and I have pillows under my body to kind of, adjust my body while I sleep, so I'm not flat on my coccyx bone. But yeah, I have like this phobia of being on my belly because I feel so stuck on my stomach. Like I literally feel like a dead fish, So I never want anyone to roll me over on my belly because I feel like I can't move at all. But I love this. But I was in yoga for a while, and my yoga teacher who's paralyzed, he's like, Tiffany, you need to get on your belly more. It's really good for you. And I'm like, I know.
I feel like on my stomach, I can push myself up and do things.
Cool.
I can still kind of push myself up.
That's
but
great.
so I just roll kind of from side to side on my back. So I'm kind of like lying half on my side on my back. But if I'm flat on my back or I go too much over my back, I am not moving. I can't.
Wow. You're pretty strong in a way. I can't roll myself at all. And do you do any therapy, outpatient therapy anywhere? Did you do any activity-based therapy over the years? I know a lot of people are doing that nowadays.
I did. I was going to the gym up until I stopped actually a little while before COVID.
Okay.
The germs and stuff, but I'd like to get it for my house here, is an arm ergometer. That actually helps strengthen. And then I got these D-ring, almost like ankle weights that people would get, and they're like a little D-ring, and I would go and do pull downs, pulls, and biceps. So just I'd go do what I could basically, and honestly, it made me feel so good.
I know. I love working out in my wheelchair. I do it every night. I put on like a HIIT workout, and I use my arms, and I just punch until I can't breathe anymore. And then I feel that little runner's high still, even though, I'm a quad, but you need to feel that. You got to get your heart beating, even if you're sitting all the time. Like, it's so important. And I'm not going to the gym either. I actually have never been a gym member. I like get embarrassed. I'm so shy about my disability. Sometimes I don't like working out around regular average people. Then they want to come talk to me and ask me about my situation. And I'm like, I just want to work out. I just want to do my own thing. So I tend to work out at home, but
Well, I
yeah.
know what you mean though. Like anyone doesn't really like being bothered at the gym, but some people see it as like a social thing.
I
When
know.
it's like, oh, I just want to get in the zone, like, you know what I mean? But and yeah, and I remember seeing guys at the gym who were like those people that could like grab a pole and like lift their legs up and like hold it sideways. I'm like, okay.
Braggers. Yeah. Well, that's good. You look like you're in great shape still. So that's great after all these years of being in a chair. I know it's one of those things you want to keep your body in shape just in case there's a cure around the corner. I'm always
Right.
trying to keep in shape, even though I've been hurt for a lot longer than you. But it's been
Okay.
really great talking to you, Leah. I don't want to get too, I want to ask if you have a boyfriend, but I don't think I should ask you that. But your personal life, are you dating anyone or anything like that?
I have
Yeah.
dated, yes.
You're very pretty, so I imagine you probably have guys that do not care if you're in a wheelchair, huh? They're like, I don't care.
Yeah, no. There,
No,
yeah, I've dated. Yeah, it's
that's good.
no big. I mean, dating the first person was it's kind of awkward and it's new, right? And
Yeah,
you're trying to figure your body out and
so
whatnot.
hard.
And like and I felt more insecure, but I feel like once you kind of get over that hump of, you know, at least dating the first person, then you're like, okay, like I can do this. I mean, it's always new, and anyone you're hanging around that's new, you kind of have to
Yeah.
educate them, even friends, right? You have to educate them on, you know, the different health risks and the good, the bad, right?
You're the educator on all things spinal cord injury. You are. I have become that person too, but that's
Yeah.
cool. Well, that's good. Well, I think I should let you go. I don't want to like keep pestering you and asking you all these personal questions, even though I find you very interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing your story. You know, we do the show, we talk to different people all around the world, and you're the first person we've spoken to in Vancouver. So this is really, really, really cool. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, just thank you so much. You know, I keep doing your thing up there. I hope you guys have a beautiful summer and you're able to get out and stuff. I know the weather is changing here, so
it should get warm. Where are you? Where are you
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So
okay.
yeah, so we're kind of experiencing 50 degrees and sunny days recently, and the snow is gone. So
Okay, yeah.
we're all very excited.
Yes. It's
But
nice, yeah, being in a wheelchair when there's no snow or ice.
it's very difficult in the snow. So, but anyways, I thank you again, Leah. And if people
Thank
want to,
you.
if they have any questions, let's say someone listening wants to get in touch with you, can they just find you on your Instagram account? Would that be okay?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome sauce.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Thank you, Leah, and have a great day. Okay.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. See you later. Bye.
Okay, bye.